Stay warm and save every day, all in the Kroger app.
Get 10 for $10 on select varieties of Kroger pasta, Starkist tuna pouches, or Powerade. Then get flavorful fresh Heritage Farm chicken split breast, drumsticks, or thighs for $1.49 a pound, all with your card.
Shop these deals at your local Kroger, less than 5 miles away. Or tap the screen now to download the Kroger app to save big today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Prices and product availability subject to change. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. So my introductions, feedback is greatly important. Feel free to reach out to me either through email, Substack, X, and of course, fill up those comments on YouTube. It's greatly appreciated. So some of the audio platforms that I'm on Spreaker, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. And these are just to name a few. All right, so this episode is all about Romania. So I had a listener or listeners in the past that are from Romania, so I'm going to focus in on the fashion of Romania. And so on Fridays, I'm going to extend this out until I, cross all of the listeners here and with the aspects, and this what I'm going to circle in on instead of food. Move on to fashion now, and then after fashion, the theme of fashion for all of my appreciation on Fridays for all of you listeners. I'm going to move on to music and literature and so forth. All right, so here we go. Okay, so this is the AI-generated response that I asked my search engine to pull for me, Romanian fashion. So it says, Romanian fashion is characterized by a blend of traditional and modern styles, reflecting the country's rich cultural heritage and also contemporary trends. So here are some of the key aspects of Romanian fashion. Romanian traditional clothing, known as, forgive me for the pronunciation, ai, is often handmade and adorned with intricate embroidery. Each region has its unique style influenced by geographic aspects in that and historical interactions. So, for example, the traditional clothing from the regions in the Maurisk, forgive me for the pronunciation, I'm trying my best here. It's distinctive in both color and pattern, featuring dark colors like black, red, and green. And in contrast with the Altanias traditional dress is highly ornate with metallic, traditional, and rich embroidery. So modern fashion trends. Romanian fashion today includes a mix of Eastern Europe and flair and global influences. For instance, bomber jackets were well tailored with leather jackets, and they're also popular too. So we got bomber jackets, and we also got well-tailored leather jackets, breaking up the difference there. And along with that, we got neutral color palettes such as gray, black, and beige. So layering is also key due to Romania's the variety of the climate here. And style is fashionable, but it's also functional. And there we go. So luxury brands. So Romania has several luxury clothing brands that focus on sustainability and craftsmanship. For instance, forgive me for the pronunciation, Mura found in 2011 by Andrea Badaya, emphasizes reconnecting women with their femininity and sensuality through clothing. Another notable brand, Anna Karen Cascute, which offers elegant and sensual designs for women. Alana, I believe the pronunciation, forgive me for that. I'm trying my best. So, fashion festivals and events. So, traditional Romanian clothing is still worn at folk festivals and scenic performances. So, it preserves the cultural heritage. So, this enhance goes on with the events to showcase the rich embroidery and unique regional styles of Romanian traditional customs. So, here we go with the summary. It says Romanian fashion is a vibrant mix of traditional and modern elements, reflecting the country's cultural diversity and invoking fashion, hence that is the landscape that is of Romania. All right, so as y'all know, I like to go in more depth, so I'm going to go on more details about the aspects of Romanian fashion with a source here. And then before I do that, I'm going to give my thoughts. All right, so here we go. All right, I'm going to keep this pretty simple and sweet here. It won't be so long. So, this episode for Friday won't be so long. So, here we go. My thoughts about clothing from Romania. Now, keeping it in perspective, of course, Romania has luxury brands. Yeah, that's a given. Most European countries and that are keeping up with Western traditions and so forth, it's quite expected and quite normal for them to have luxury brands. But at the same time, the token of that, a lot of the culture is very vibrant and reminiscent throughout Romania. And then countries like this and so forth, when you break everything down to the nuts and bolts, separating, well, not really separating, stepping out besides just seeing this, with luxury fashion and high-end design, centering your focus around the everyday wear and what people normally wear, day to day, hence everyday wear, that symbolizes and that pinpoints a lot to what the society values as a culture and what they're also saying. So the fact that Romania makes a point to tie itself back to the traditions, even though they have, luxury brands, things it keeps in the perspective of what's really, and luxury brands, they serve their purpose, and then it's so many beautiful things that come out of luxury brands. But my main point here is what I'm saying here is that it showcases that traditions are very, very important. And that's what the Romanian culture is saying about their clothing attire. And so when you get into that mind frame and that carries with you on through other generations, what that's saying is that you have to keep in mind that no matter how widely advanced and all of the different changes that goes on in your country, it's still important to sink your roots in what started it all. And so that helps to remind you and keep the perspective of who you are as a nation, who you are as individuals. And out of that, they start to see how you yourself is placed in the big old wide world we live in. And that's something to really consider and think about here when we think about the aspects of clothing. And of course, yes, brands and so forth. But again, stressing this again, What you wear is a walking billboard about your attitude and about your attitude is not necessarily a bad thing here. It's just how you position yourself in society. All right, so moving on, I'm going to first start out with 10 luxury brands from Romania, and then I'm going to end up talking about traditional clothing of Romania. Okay, here we go. Okay, so sources, yes, they will be provided, as I say in this episode. Okay, so here. So some of these I've mentioned. So Christina Salvascu, forgive me for the pronunciation, working from the beginning with the finest and most innovative fabrics, the most delicate lace, using couture techniques and handmade embroideries. Christina's mission is to create a luxury product by mixing the contemporary with the retro vibe. She has a personal approach to the 50s figure, and I see this here. Within the 50s is what it started off with the houses, the houses of fashion and so forth. It's particularly with Christian Dior and everyone, Givenchy, coming into play with powers like the Eddie B coming into play, influencing the look of the modern women modern woman at that time in the 50s. Very posh, as I say, the Fifth Avenue, as you would say, from Audrey Hepburn really embraced that a lot, particularly. Now I'm going to go in more detail about her relationship to wrap up the month of January, her relationship with Givenchy, the House of Givenchy, and how she reshaped the image of a modern woman, with all the sophistication. Say that 10 times fast. With all the sophistication and embraced with her image. All right, so moving on, Andrea Anacriscu. So designed to be worn in infinite ways, Andrea Anacriscu founded her namesake women's wear label in 2011. So through fashion, it's quoted by her, "You do not hide, you find yourself." Or clothes or designers to be intentionally subtle with that you can give them life. So Anna and Criscu is handmade and responsible, moreover. And it's important enough to understand this product is solely made in Romania. It's not sourced out to any other country. It's made in the hometown of Romania. And that's a nice, that's a nice image. Those are nice remnants to think about here, about, keeping it in your hometown and not, doing this, fast, cheap, quick, out to other sources, out to third world countries and, doing shady business stuff that you shouldn't really be doing. And that's a lot of nobility into that, just keeping it in your hometown here and make it and sending it out into the world. That's great. So as a luxury clothing brand, details make the difference, and their poetic simplicity is what represents timeless style. And I think that the writer is saying this as a quote, and that's very true, that through fashion, you do not hide, you find yourself. Yes, you do. Because, when you get a sense of who you are, this is very embodied in the clothing that you wear. Okay, so Mirami. So founded by designer Andrea Caltrin, Mirami draws inspiration from the fusion between Transylvanian heritage, as with crafts and diverse cultures from around the world. Andrea's passion for craftsmanship goes a long way, starting with her childhood and artisan encounters in her native area of Transylvania, has continued to extend studies in worldwide research worldwide research in the field of fashion and academic teaching experiences. So, Mirror Me, bridges cultures and generations, creating pieces that not only showcase beauty, natural culture, design identities, but contribute to a more sustainable future. Okay. Bullrich. This line. Cocrina, I believe. Bullrich. All right, so this piece is clothing you should feel like second skin. So it highlights your natural beauty with femininity in this particular luxury brand. So it's very free-flowing, and it inspires to find your own unique story within every item. So, Amila. So in the world of mass retail product pollution, fast and unsustainable fashion is unfortunately a part of the way of the world. So sustainable helps to slow down the pace of fashion. With ready-to-wear fashion, when you get boutique brand built on responsibility, that boutique, when you have a niche and you narrow it down to certain items here, it's not, massive in retail bulk and volume there. And I get that point. That's something interesting to, think about too when the aspects of fashion here. Small but quaint. Well, that's the same thing. More like small but elegant. There we go. And respect for the resources and people involved in the life cycle of our knitwear. In the perspective of the writer, of the Romanian writer here. In turn, customers are people who love natural yarns, colors, and share the same values. So if you have that perspective about fabrics, then you'll be drawn to this brand, Amila. Okay, so Mura. So Mura is an international ready-to-wear brand launched in 2011 by Andrea Balla. The brand focuses on reconnecting women to their femininity and sensuality, and also on celebrating the joy of being a woman throughout clothing. All right, so going to get to the wrapping up point here. So it says, to wrap up, to create a brand that stands for powerful, but also in the aspects of women, the female, a female, and with the different volumes that there is and the layers that there is. Now I'm adding to it. This is from my point of view, the layers that is with what a woman wants to wear, when the occasions to wear, everyday wear, business wear, casual wear, ball gown, formal wear, so forth. And then it goes on to say, based on minimalist lines, unconventional cuts, and unique combinations, these brands inspire women who know what they want in life. And they also take their own path, so it is easy for them to fulfill their dreams. And that's quite true. With that luxury fashion, it does innate that sense of establishment, but comfort when in the aspect that wearing these brands give you. And some of them are, comfort, but that comfort in knowing that, how you feel that you look good in these brands and then what that gives you. All right, so I'm going to go on to talk about traditional clothing of Romania to close up. Okay, so Romanian traditional clothing called IE are styles, history, and meaning. So Romanian traditional clothing offers a beautiful window into Romania's rich culture, history, and regional diversity. Often handmade and adorned with intricate embroidery, each garment tells a story about the community and its origins from it, with strong influences from ancient folk customs, pastoral life, and historical interactions with other cultures. Romanian attire is celebrated today as both a cultural treasure and a fashionable item sought by those wanting a piece of Romanian heritage. So, Romanian traditional clothing dates back centuries with roots in ancient Dacan and Tracan attire, which evolved over time through influences from the Ottoman Empire, Slavic cultures, and Western Europe. Historically, these clothes were handmade with each garment woven, so they were dyed and embroidered by hand. So this is a very labor-intensive process. The process is very labor-intensive that often symbolizes an individual's skill, social status, and heritage. So clothing was not just for warmth or covering, but a vital part of cultural rituals, seasonal festivals, and rites of passage. Beyond aesthetic value, traditional clothing conveyed important aspects of life, including the wearer's regional identity, marital status, and age. So today, what's thought of with these garments, they are treasured to their historical authenticity, unique regional patterns, and the craftsmanship that goes into each piece. All right, so Romanian traditional clothing consists of various garments worn differently by men and women. So throughout each region, it has its unique variations. Here is an overview. For women, blouses, i.e. is the quintessential Romanian blouse. That's what that means. With long, flowing sleeves adorned with intricate embroidery. Each region has distinct patterns and color schemes, with the motifs often inspired by nature, such as flowers, leaves, and animals. So skirt. So the skirt is worn over a petticoat and it's wrapped around the skirt. The shirt, not skirt. So the shirt is worn over a petticoat and it's wrapped around. And it's often woven with specific patterns that align with the blouse, sometimes made with wool for winter or lightweight fabric for summer. Its decorations varies significantly by region. So the belt. So it's usually woven that accents and the waist, often with patterns or colors that contrast with the blouse and skirt. Headscarf. In many regions, married women wore a headscarf or a veil known as a mara. I'm trying my best with that. Mara belief, particularly for traditional events and more conservative ritual areas. So here we go with men. So shirt. The man's shirt is similar to the woman's blouse, but typically longer and simpler in embroidery, which makes sense. Don't be for a straight man, traditional man wouldn't be very lavish. So the neckline and sleeve often features minor decoration. Men's trousers are usually white or beige and made of wool or cotton. They are cut loose for comfort, especially for working outdoors. So many traditional outfits include a wool-lined vest or fur-lined coat, especially in colder regions. Footwear. Men traditionally wore leather shoes, which were rustic and handmade, often fastened with leather straps around the legs. Okay. So, to wrap up, Romanian traditional clothing offers visitors a vibrant and meaningful way to connect with the country's diverse heritage. Whether you're drawn to the rich embroidery, the colorful patterns of Altania, or the elegant styles, each piece represents a unique slice of Romanian history. By purchasing authentic clothing and learning the stories behind each garment, visitors can bring a part of Romanian spirit home with them, ensuring that the beautiful tradition continues to thrive. And so if you want to know more, you can follow them on Instagram and all of that. It has this in this source that I will provide for you in this episode. So I like to wrap up, the listener or listeners from Romania. I like to know what you think about the aspect of clothing and fashion of your country. And then in general, I like to know what y'all all chime in about your aspects of fashion in general in our society, how it's inputted, how it's translated. All right, so this reaches the end of the Harboring Light. Tune in, turn up, and absolutely take care. Bye-bye for now.